name is Don Evans. I'm the founding executive director of the Chicago Literary Hall of Fame. This is our 10th annual induction ceremony, although I hesitate at the word annual because this was supposed to be last year, which would have been the 10th in a row, but of course we had to skip last year. So I'm going to start by just handing it over to Kathie Bergquist. Kathie is a wonderful writer, editor, teacher. Kathie Bergquist.
Kathleen Rooney is a founding editor of Rose Medal Press and a poet, fiction, and nonfiction author of many books across those genres. In short, she's a literary phenomena. Kathleen Rooney is also a founding member of Poems While You Wait that visits neighborhood fairs, street festivals, and literary events and produces poems on demand to any asking patron. She teaches English at the English department at DePaul University, and Rooney will be presenting for inductee Frank London Brown.
Thanks to everyone for being here. Thanks to Don for all the hard work, and it's an honor to be a part of this. And so I've written just a short sort of appreciation introduction to Frank London Brown, and so I'm going to share that with you. But I'm going to start with a confession, which is that until I was asked to serve on the nominating committee, I had never heard of Frank London Brown. And when I read nominator Rachel Swearingen, she's here, she's there, recommendation, I was immediately intrigued by this remarkable man, a former union organizer, a PhD candidate at the University of Chicago, and a journalist for such publications as Ebony and the Chicago Defender. His short stories appeared regularly in the Chicago Review and other small magazines. Brown covered the Emmett Till murder trial in Mississippi and was a witness of and participant in many of the crucial moments of the civil rights movement of the 50s and 60s. His work, as Swearingen wrote, was arguably dangerous, as he earned an infamous index card from the FBI in 1955, meaning that the agency perceived him as a threat to national security. He died of leukemia in Chicago in 1962 in his mid-30s, and over the course of his short life, he did pose a threat to the myths of security held forth by the so-called American dream, a dream hypocritically available only to a limited swath of Americans. And I think that threat is part of why Frank London Brown's work is not yet canonical or as widely read as it ought to be. And I think that threat is why it's wonderful that he's being inducted today. His work is brilliant, but it's also unsettling. It does not make you feel totally comfortable because you should not feel comfortable. Trumbull Park, Brown's only novel published before his death, dramatizes the struggle of Black middle-class families integrating an all-white public housing project on Chicago's far south side. Drawing on his family's own experience of abuse from both white residents and the police supposedly present to protect them, Brown presents a powerful story of white supremacist hatred characterized by riots, death threats, and nightly bombings. In real life, Trumbull Park was first integrated in 1953. Brown and his family lived there from 1954 to 57, and it took until 1963 for Black families to be able to walk freely there without a police escort. Although an episode of the HBO series Lovecraft Country made mention of the rioting in Trumbull Park, both the incident itself and the novel it inspired remain little known and under-discussed. Now, 6 decades later, Brown's induction here serves as a reminder that Trumbull Park remains as relevant as ever in terms of understanding the enduring and brutal legacy of segregation, even here in the North, which often likes to think of itself as more evolved on such issues. Nonfiction accounts offer facts and figures, names and dates, but Brown's character-based and voice-driven rendition achieves an unforgettable pathos and a poignancy that feels fresh these many decades later. Gradually, over the book's 432 pages, through conversations with his wife, his fellow Black families in Trumbull Park, his white colleagues at his factory job, and the police officers who disdain their task of defending the integrators, his everyman protagonist, Buggy Martin, becomes the leader of the resistance against white oppression. But equally as satisfying as Brown's depiction of this righteous defiance is his portrayal of Black love and solidarity, joy and fun. As Buggy asks one Saturday evening, "We knew the bombs were going to start off any minute, but do you know what we did that night? We partied. Terry and Norman thawed out, and those two went with Arthur and Kevin and got a few cans of Bud and a few Pepsi Colas, and I went home after some records, and we put the kids in Carl's bedroom on his kid's bed and had a real, live Saturday night party." In a similar enthusiastic spirit, I say tonight that Trumbull Park should be taught in high school, taught in college. It should be made a movie. It's maybe the best Chicago novel ever written. I know that's like controversial here, but like at me afterwards, I will discuss. Thus, it is a huge honor to present Frank London Brown this evening upon his induction into the Chicago Literary Hall of Fame. This is a perfect opportunity for more readers to induct him onto their bookshelves and see what he still has to teach us in 2021. So, I think it's London, his grandson, who's actually, I think Pam was ill, so I think, I think London's gonna come up, so. We've met on Twitter. And it's so great to meet in real life. It means so much to me. I love his work. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. I am London Rakestraw, so I'm the namesake of Frank London Brown. My mother was supposed to give a speech today. She actually thought she caught COVID. Got a test. She was negative, but is not feeling well enough to come and give the speech today. So I'm going to give it on her behalf and in her voice, which is going to be a little weird. But I thought the speech was so well written, I didn't want to change a thing. Okay, and it was with the help of my godmother, Alabette, who's in the front row right here. Some people record history, others create it. My father, Frank London Brown, was among that rare breed who managed to do both. I'm Pamela Brown Rakestraw, and as his daughter, it is truly a blessing to represent my sisters and our family here at our father's induction to the Chicago Literary Hall of Fame. The beautiful biography in tonight's program aptly described Dad as an author, journalist, activist, editor, and a lover of jazz. And my sisters and I wish to thank Rachel Swearingen and Kathleen Rooney and Don Evans for so powerfully and vividly bringing his story to life through her words. As proud as we are, as I am, of his contributions to the world, the treasure I carry in my heart are memories of a man who breathed belief into all those fortunate enough to be around him. I clearly remember when I was just 6 years old, I lobbied Mom and Dad to let me walk to the store alone. Terms were negotiated and I set out on my mission, completed my purchase, and joyfully began the journey back home, convinced to my soul that I was now a paragon of independence, responsibility, and grown-up reliability. Until I turned my head to look down the alley, only to discover that my father had been trailing me in the shadows the whole time. I don't remember exactly what happened next, but what I do remember is the feeling of safety and security and just knowing that my daddy had my back. Through words and deeds, Dad taught us what it meant to be part of something, to fight for something, stand up for something, and to always, always look out for each other. It didn't matter whether the others lived in the house with you or in the house down the block. He actively built community wherever he went. He lifted up voices that others had endeavored to silence. He had the courage to observe patiently on the sidelines, but the conviction to jump straight into the middle of the mix when it was needed. He innately understood the power of one and the power of many working with one heart. Courage, commitment, community, purpose. This is the legacy my father gifted to us. Tonight is a very special night for our family. And tonight we are grateful to accept this honor on my father's behalf. And even as I do, may I invite, encourage, and yes, even challenge you to pick up the torch of what his message and his life embodied. Courage, commitment, community, purpose. May we go forth here and leave some footprints in the snow. Thank you.